What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to this channel. I haven't been here for a while. We're gonna talk some AEW and WWE. Not much WWE. I'll get into that why in a little bit, but I haven't talked about anything wrestling besides that video that I put out. If you haven't checked it out, go check it out. It's a retrospective on the year of 2015, probably the start of why WWE is in such bad shape today. Now, as always, I'm going to keep it all in one take, so if I stutter, mumble, if you can't understand what I'm saying, too bad, so sad. I'm going to try to speak as clearly and as, as clearly as I can. But, like I said, one take, we're going to go all the way through. We're going to talk some AEW. The last time that I was on here in a full-length wrestling conversation, AEW was yet to even have its first show. You guys don't care why I haven't been here. You just want to hear me talk about my thoughts on AEW. If you are here, thanks for clicking this video. I don't know how you found me, but let's get it started. So AEW, let me just start with the beginning. Double or Nothing, one of the best shows that I have ever seen. One of the best pay-per-views. Now, it might be just because WWE is so bad, but it was in May, and Money in the Bank was decent. And WrestleMania, we were coming off of WrestleMania that we got everything that we wanted in terms of payoffs and winners. Obviously, the wrestling wasn't as great because they don't give them enough time. The best match on that card was probably Daniel Bryan versus Kofi Kingston, but I still wouldn't even say that was like a classic, like a Shawn Taker, Cena Punk type of match, you know what I mean? But it was still probably the best match on WrestleMania, and that's not saying much. So anyway, AEW Double or Nothing, I watched that one, and it was from start to finish, maybe not including the pre-show, the buy-in that they call it, maybe not including that, but as soon as the show started, I didn't know who half the people were, but I was just going along for the ride. You have to put yourself in a certain mindset when you watch these pay-per-views. For example, WWE, you know, it's not going to be wrestling oriented, it's going to be more storytelling, so you got to pay attention to the little details, even though they don't do that right anymore, but you have to pay attention to that type of stuff. For NXT, the main events are going to be spot fest after spot fest, especially with Johnny Gargano and Adam Cole. You have to go in with that mindset. It's going to be kick out city. For AEW, I had no idea what I was getting into, but I knew it was going to be the same thing, kind of like NXT, but a little bit more spots, a little bit more no selling. At NXT, they sell a little bit more. AEW, I went in like, alright, this is going to be just a show, no selling. It's just going to be spot after spot after spot, and that's exactly what it was, but it was entertaining, to say the least. And, I mean, some of the matches that stood out, I don't think this was the ladder match. This wasn't the ladder match, right? That was All Out between the Young Bucks and Lucha Bros. I mean, Pentagon Junior, bro, I can't wait until he becomes a single star. I think he can be a star for AEW. Darby Allen has made an impression on me. I didn't know who he was going into AEW, but Darby Allen since, I mean, non-stop crazy stuff that this guy has been doing. He had that shot against Chris Jericho for the AEW Championship. The stuff that he was doing with his hands tied, I mean, some people can't even do that with 10 hands. You know what I'm saying? So, Darby Allen, Pentagon Junior, obviously MJF is probably going to be a star for them. He hasn't really done much, but I think sooner or later he's going to do something. I'm glad that they haven't turned him, he's already healed, but I'm glad that they haven't turned him against Cody Rhodes. I feel like it's too early, but yeah, MJF, Darby Allen, not taking nothing away from Rey Fenix. That's a great tag team. Darby Allen, like I said, I don't know who else. Oh, Orange Cassidy, he was in that buy-in at Double or Nothing when he came out. I didn't know who he was either, going into AEW. And then when I saw him do those kicks to Tommy Dreamer, I mean, that was hilarious. So Orange Cassidy, I don't expect him to do anything much, but just his presence alone is like enough for me to be like, holy shit, Orange Cassidy. I want to see him every week on TV. The tag team and the women's division. The women's division is a little weak for me. I mean, I gave the match in NXT Takeover UK crap. Like, I didn't like it, the Tyler Bate versus Walter match. because of how unrealistic it was. That such a small man, like I'm small, I'm like 5'7" at best. All right, but this is TV, right? I'm supposed to suspend my disbelief, but I could not suspend my disbelief for a guy the size of Tyler Bate going after a guy like the size of Walter after working his back the entire match, and then Tyler Bate is still in it somehow at the end. Made no sense. Jim Cornette rips apart so many matches. The day that his review of this match came out, I was so excited. I was like, please just rip this match to shred, and he loved it. I was like, what the hell is going on? Like, a small guy that was beaten up, it just didn't make any sense to me. So with that being said, going back to the women's division in AEW, Riho defeating Nyla Rose didn't make much sense. And those are the two women that you're gonna spotlight on your first show and to build your women's division around. I just didn't understand it. I get that they have high hopes for the Joshi wrestlers, is that what they call them? The females from Japan. Kenny Omega's high on them, but I just don't see it in right now. Nyla Rose as well. I'll put this out there just because in the world we live in today, nothing against Nyla Rose because she's transgender or whatever she is. She is just not good in the ring. I mean, go back and look at the Casino Battle Royal from All Out. She was not good at all. She was botching. Now, everybody was botching in that match. I still, to this day, like I said before, you can go back and check out any of my, the Elimination Chamber, I think. I still have not yet seen a multi-women match that has not been a botch fest. Now, there has been male matches, superstar matches, men's matches, I should say, multi-men matches that have botched, but it's never on the level of how the women is, and it's because, I don't know if it's because the women are still trying to transition from, oh crap, now we can do stuff instead of just, showing TNA. I don't know what it is, but I still have yet to see a multi-women's match that has been, not to say botch free, because botches are going to happen every match no matter what, but kind of limit them so it's not as noticeable and it doesn't take away from the match. So going back to Nyla Rose, she was just botching all over the place, and then Riho is too small. It's not believable that she was able to beat Nyla Rose the way that they build her up, you know what I mean? So the women's division needs a little bit of work. I don't know where Emma is. Wasn't she in the Casino Battle? Where are like half of the females from that Casino Battle Royal? Where are they? Some of them are good wrestlers, I think. Like Emma, the girl that came on last, she was in the Mae Young Classic, Mercedes Martinez or something like that. Yeah, her. Showcase Allie more, isn't she a good wrestler? And then obviously Britt Baker. But yeah, and then give Riho some opponents that are, actually Rio's a good wrestler. But yeah, so the women's division needs a little help, a little work, a little bit more work and development in AEW. But since they are, a lot of people would say, you know what? No, they're going on TNT primetime. AEW needs to come out all guns. No, you can't do that with a show. It's a TV show at the end of the day. You have to give it some time to develop. I was watching a show on Netflix the other day with Paul Rudd, Living With Yourself. Not to get away from wrestling, but I had no idea what was going on the first episode. Then like halfway through the first episode, I was kind of getting into it. It's like a 10 episode show. I was kind of getting into it. So you got to give TV shows time to develop, and at the end of the day, wrestling and AEW and WWE and ROH, any wrestling show that's on TV or being broadcasted, Impact, ROH, New Japan, to a less extent New Japan, but any American wrestling show that's on TV or any media platform, it's a TV show. So you got to give some time to develop there. And most of the women have already gone to WWE and NXT, so they still, I'd give them a little bit of more time to find some more females out there. Tag team division, I mean, it's stacked basically. The only thing I don't like is how many rules get broken in the match in terms of how long the wrestlers are in the ring. The first show they said they had 20 seconds to get out of the ring, and none of the tag team matches the referees were doing anything to prevent or to enforce the rule. After that, I don't think they said anything about that 20-second rule, but there has been so many tag team matches, 6-man tag team matches, where the wrestlers are just all out doing a tornado tag and the referee is doing nothing about it. Makes no sense. I wish they would just say in AEW, as long as the wrestlers are in there for a long ass period of time, because they haven't been in there. They've been in there for a while, when they're not the legal man. But it's not like the level of, oh, I'm here for like 3 minutes and then I get out. You know what I mean? It's like, come in, do 1 or 2 moves, then they're back out. It's still in the realms of believability that the referee is not calling the match to an end. So if they could just say something like, in AEW, the referee, not only is it his call whether or not to allow all these men to be in the ring at the same time, but the referee has the right to allow it. Something like that. Anything else that I have a problem with is probably what I have a problem with in wrestling as a whole right now is just Spot Fest and then Kick Out City. If they could just sell a little bit more, sell moves, and then if there's a big move that gets hit in a tag team match especially, somebody come in and just break it up. I mean, how hard is that? You know what I mean? So, hopefully they calm down with Spot Fest and Kick Out Cities. I get that they're trying to be for the boys, with the boys. It's a wrestling promotion for the boys or whatever. But WWE does something well, and that's selling moves. You know what I mean? And slowing it down. And also, there's another thing. There's so many moves that get hit in the same, not in the same match and throughout the night in different matches. Kind of like the cutter and the suicide dives. Like, it's alright if multiple people have that in their arsenal and moveset and they do it in their matches. But the amount of cutters that I see in AEW, especially the cutters, as my Febreze goes off, sorry about that if you heard it. But the amount of cutters that I've seen in an AEW show, not a match, in a show, is just way too many. Like, RKO is supposed to be a devastating move in WWE, only one guy does it, Randy Orton. And then in AEW, everybody's hitting a pile driver, cutters, stunners, all that good stuff, and it doesn't even end the match, which is another befuddling thing to think about. So just calm down, sell a little bit more, slow it down, and limit how many guys use a certain move and what actually ends matches. Because there are so many matches or so many moves that you're like, that has to be it, and then they kick out. Especially in tag team matches. Like I said, just have somebody come in and break up the pin. It's a tag team match. It's fine. You can break it up. So then, with that being out of the way, once again, I said Double or Nothing was a good show. AEW as a whole, I mean, it's been entertaining. You have to go in with the mindset that I just said. I just, block most of that stuff out. Like, I know it's going to be a spot fest. I know it's going to be Kick Out City. I know people are just going to be doing moves to do moves and no selling. But it's still entertaining. It's a lot more entertaining than whatever the hell WWE has been putting out there in the last, I would say in the last year, but to be honest, in the last like 5 years, since 2014, since the Shield broke up, basically. I elaborate in my 2015 retrospective. Please go check it out. So Double or Nothing was a good show. Cody versus Goldust, I wanted to get to this one. That match was, I don't know what it was, but for the first time ever, I think, besides a wrestler dying and them paying tribute to them, I have never cried during a wrestling show. I cried during the Dustin Rhodes and Cody match. That was a once in a lifetime thing that has ever happened to me. I'm probably never gonna do that again. It was just the atmosphere. I don't know what it was, but that match was probably the best match of the night just because of that. It got some emotion out of me, and I don't ever feel that in any wrestling match at all. I just see them as wrestling matches, never as anything to get emotional for. But yeah, the whole thing, it was just laid out perfectly. Cody Goldust, A+, 7 stars. Has Dave Meltzer gone to 8 stars yet? Let's give this match 8 stars. Kenny Omega versus, who did he face this? Because I think no, he faced Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho matches so far have been just WWE style matches, and there's nothing wrong with that because Chris Jericho knows how to work in that style and he does well with it. Him going out at the main event has been kind of lackluster because of what we've seen throughout the entire show, and then at least the Chris Jericho matches, which are a little bit slower and more methodical. Not that there's anything wrong with that, like I said, but in the AEW show, it just kind of, the peaks and valleys, it just kind of valleys in the Jericho match in terms of how the crowd is for that match, how hype the crowd is, and it falls back into the viewer at home. You're like, why aren't these motherfuckers popping for anything? But yeah, Jericho has been doing his thing though. I'm not taking anything away from him. He beat Omega in his first match. Like I said, it wasn't really anything to go home about. Like, oh damn, did you see that Kenny Omega Jericho AEW match? That was great. Not really, but Jericho and Omega have had better matches in AEW since. So, and that match, like I said, not too bad. Young Bucks, Lucha Bros, good match as well. Who did Hangman Page face? Oh no, he was supposed to face Pac, but something happened. And then he won the Casino Battle Royal earlier in the night. No problem with that either. And then he came out in the horse at All Out. Good entrance. I mean, what better way to showcase a rising star and let the people watching that he is a star and that you're trying to make him a star by having him come out on a horse, making a grand entrance. Shout out to Hunter Horse Helmsley, by the way. So Hangman Page, kind of the same thing with Jericho. I don't know if he is one of those wrestlers that's a spot guy, kind of like Omega, the Young Bucks, Pentagon Junior, Darby Allen, those type of guys, because we haven't really seen him against guys that could do that sort of stuff. Has he had his match with Pac yet, or is he gonna have it for the first time ever at Full Gear? I'm not sure if he's faced Pac yet. So that match is actually going to be interesting to see what Paige can actually do with an opponent that can do stuff, that can go. So far, he's been in tag matches and in a match with Jericho, who's, you know, a little bit older, and in Casino Battle Royals, and he had another, Kip Sabian, and nobody knows who Kip Sabian is, so nothing against Kip, but yeah, we couldn't really get anything out of that show. Fight for the Fallen or Fighter Fest, whatever that one was that Paige fought Sabian in, we couldn't really get I couldn't really get a read on how Hangman Page's wrestling ability is. So good to see. It's gonna be good to see him against Pac when they do face off, to see what he actually is made of, and I'm gonna form my opinion on him there. So then, yeah, that match, I think I covered most of the matches that I wanted to about on Double or Nothing. And then at All Out, the only match that I wanted to talk about really was the ladder match with Young Bucks and Lucha Bros. Once again, Pentagon Junior, rising star. Hopefully he, branches out from this tag team and does something singly. Is that even a word? Singly? He does something singly. But that match was probably the craziest ladder match that I've ever seen in my entire life. Was it a TLC match? Or was it just a ladder match? Why were there tables out there? I don't know, but it was an amazing match, an amazing ladder match. Since we gave Cody and Dustin 8 stars, how about we give this one 9 stars? No, I'm just kidding. No, but it was a good match. Another, who did Omega face? He was supposed to face Moxley. Oh, I didn't even get to my thoughts on Moxley coming out at Double or Nothing. A whole bunch of shit has been happening, and I'm just skimming over everything. But Moxley came out at the end of Double or Nothing. People expected it. There were some murmurs here and there, obviously, when he left WWE. He had that video on Twitter that had the 25th or whatever, the day of Double or Nothing, and he did come out. It was amazing. It was a great moment. Moxley he's already like one of the top wrestlers outside of WWE, and it just goes to show when you let certain people just be themselves, they are a star in the making. For example, a guy like Braun Strowman needs the WWE bubble and to stay within the the script of it all. But a guy like Moxley, he needs to be let off. He needs to be let off the leash. A guy like Kevin Owens needs to be let off the leash. Jericho, they need to be let off the leash so we can see what they're made of. And Moxley has not disappointed yet. I mean, his match with Joey Janela Joey Janela is another guy that I didn't really know much about him before AEW. That match against Moxley at Fighter Fest, Fight for the Fallen, whatever it was, that was a coming out party for him, in my eyes. Obviously, other people have seen him before, so they have already made their opinion on, or what do you call it, whatever. Have their opinion on Joey Janela, but Joey Janela was a coming out party for me, seeing him against Moxley in that unsanctioned match. It was a crazy match. They were doing all sorts of stuff, but it never got to the point of like ultra violent, like, oh please don't do that stuff. It was within the realms of keeping it safe, so to speak. So even though they were doing some crazy shit, but yeah, Moxley joined AEW. Who do you guys think is going to be the next person to join AEW from WWE, or just any big name in general? Like in New Japan, if somebody like Okada came in, that would be a big name. Maybe Jay Lethal or the Briscoes, they would be a big name from ROH. And then obviously from NXT or WWE, half of the roster basically that went through NXT, AJ Styles. What if Randy Orton is supposedly his contract's coming up? Now I know he's just trolling and all, but what if Randy Orton just for 2 years? It's not like they wouldn't take him back, right? It's not like WWE wouldn't take Randy Orton back. What if Randy Orton just went out to AEW for 2 years, 1.5 years, and did some stuff there? I wouldn't mind seeing him against Kenny Omega. Another match, a match against Cody. We never got a real payoff to that legacy stable, and we could see a hell of a match probably between him and Cody if you build up a story. So yeah, Cody getting the first title shot at Full Gear after the inaugural champion. A lot of people will be like, why would Cody be getting it if he's one of the executive vice presidents or whatever? So they're just doing that because he's one of the top guys. In my opinion, he actually, he's deserved it. Everything that he's done in AEW so far and for AEW has been off the charts, and without him, probably some of this stuff in AEW wouldn't be as good as it is, just because of his mind and his brother, and the way that I feel like most of the stuff that goes around in AEW is his ideas. Obviously, Tony Khan has. By the way, Tony Khan, thanks for bringing AEW right now. I haven't watched WWE since Hell in a Cell, Hell in a Cell was the debut week of Dynamite, so I'm glad I have something to watch, because I didn't want to just quit cold turkey, but I didn't want to watch NXT just because I don't want to deal with having to see anything related to WWE. So I've watched like 1 or 2 things from NXT and nothing from the main roster since Hell in a Cell. So thank you AEW, thank you Tony Khan, Young Bucks, Kenny, Cody, whatever. And it hasn't been a terrible show. Like, it hasn't been an Impact level, like show. Like, nothing happens. Stuff has been happening on AEW Dynamite, on AEW TV, moving us forward. So yeah, I think Cody, and why wouldn't, if Kenny Omega got the first title shot, nobody will be saying anything about him getting the title shot, the same way that people could be saying the same thing about Cody. Kenny's in the same spot. He's an executive vice president. But if Kenny got the shot against Jericho, nobody would say, oh, he's just doing that because he's one of the top guys. No, Cody deserves it. I'm fine with it. They probably won't give him the belt either. They probably won't even give him the belt the first time, just to have another person chase Jericho. So, and also speaking of Jericho, we have the Inner Circle, the stable that he created with Santana, Ortiz. I don't know anything about them. I don't think we've seen a match a tag team match, a regular tag team match against actual opponents from Santana and Ortiz, and I haven't seen anything on like outside of AEW of these guys. When I've heard of LAX, it brought me back to the time of TNA, because wasn't LAX in TNA, and with Conan, and Conan is still around doing something, and I just, every time I see any mention of Conan or LAX on my timeline on YouTube as a video, I click like not interested. I'm like, please don't show me this type of stuff. Conan is so irrelevant now. He was never good in WCW. When I go back and watch that stuff. So Santana and Ortiz, when they came in and people said they were part of LAX, I was automatically like down on them. I was like, nope, don't want to know anything about these guys. So I'm looking forward to being proven wrong. I still haven't heard of like a legit promo from them or seen a legit match. So when they face off against the Young Bucks, it's going to be a coming out party probably, hopefully for them. Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong that you're not as bad as Conan. I'm throwing some shade at Conan right now. But yeah, anyways. Yeah, the Inner Circle with Sammy Guevara and Jake Hager coming in. Jack Swagger, the big debut for their Dynamite show. Not a big name, but still, you know, I think that he still can contribute something to the world of professional wrestling. He's out doing some Bellator stuff, I think. So he's being a badass outside of the ring, and I think he's the muscle for Jericho's group. I just hope none of the Inner Circle guys turn on Jericho and one of them become champion. Just as of now, I wouldn't want Sammy Guevara or Jake Hager to be AEW champion anytime soon. So yeah, Jericho with a stable, no problem. He's gonna elevate those guys. I mean, Sammy Guevara has already. I went in not liking this guy in terms of the character. I don't really have anything against him in real life, but nothing against Sammy Guevara the character, or nothing against the person, but yeah, I didn't like his character. But when he joined the Inner Circle, it's just a different side. It's just a different way that you see him. So I'm fine with Guevara being in there, and then Santana and Ortiz is gonna elevate them as well, just being around Jericho. And Jake Hager already has the rope from WWE, and then now being just a muscle and not talking and doing some stupid shit like We the People. Hey, who knows? The sky is the limit for Jake Hager now.